Hello, welcome. Let's start our video conference. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Guido of Arezzo. I'm a teacher of thousands of years of experience. I also created music notation that everyone still uses today.
My name is Leopold Mozart. I'm the father of the great Amadeus Mozart, his teacher and mentor. I hope that I don't need any introduction.
My name is Helen Heiner. I'm the author of the Soft Mozart School, a musicologist, music and piano teacher with 40 years of experience.
I am a child from the childhood of the author. I had difficulties reading music. I used to hate my piano lessons.
I am a pianist and piano teacher with master degree in music. I have students who are laureates of piano competitions and have a huge work experience.
So, we are discussing a new music school of learning and teaching piano now. Is it needed today?
Let
or
me
not?
answer this question first. Why didn't you like my school? I foresaw and described everything 1,000 years ago.
Well, that was when? 1,000 years ago. In your time, there were no even keyboard instruments. Everything had to be redone.
Sorry, colleague, but it was me who described the white keys layout. I even described the first black key. What has to be redone?
Well, first I had to add 4 more black keys to divide an octave into 12 equal parts.
Quite a logical development of my undertaking. What did you have to change then?
Well, now we are starting to teach children precisely from the groups of 2 or 3 black keys. You did not write anything about such method in your treatise.
Yes, if a child is born as a genius like my Wolfie, then it is enough to show where which key is, and he will find everything himself. And in white keys and in black.
Excuse me, colleague, but then there must be a teacher in the house of every child, such as you. As they say, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Where to get so many Leopolds?
That is why we are here today. We, in the 21st century, have interactive technologies. They may well teach children at home, even when the dad is sleeping.
What a nonsense! A soulless computer? Never, do you hear? Never! Machine is not able to replace live communication with a teacher. This is ridiculous!
Wait, do not get so excited, colleague. There are things that a child can learn on his own. Notes and strings also have no soul. In my time, I taught students to quickly extract different sounds on a string from notation. I slept, they developed. Active learning,
Yes,
you know?
I also easily learned to read books with the help of soulless pictures. You see an apple, you understand that it is A. Just easy and fun.
Do you know? Personally, I love this idea too. If it comes to that, then I always had enough worries. But I had to put everything off in order to tell Wolfie in a time where he was making a mistake. Although he's a genius, he is still a child. I think if he relied on something soulless but accurate, it would save me a lot of time and nerves.
When I saw that the notes turned up keys are continuations of white keys, I couldn't believe my eyes at first. Thank you, Guido, for this invention.
If I knew that you can just turn the music score sideways, I would not have wasted so much time on the basics.
Come on! Why flip notation? This only confuses a student. You start with black keys. Learn where's a group of 3, where's a group of 2. Show them.
Excuse me, but what do groups of black keys have to do with music score? There is a clear direct transition from sound to note that you can
There
see.
is no connection at all for me. It took me a long time to figure out where there are 2 black keys and where there are 3. And then I got lost. Completely lost.
My child, what a pity that next to you was not such a dad as I, Leopold Mozart.
Colleague, the fact of the matter is that it is easier to give a child a good system for self-development than a brilliant dad who is ready to help at any time of the day or night. A simple formula. What you see is what you play.
Then what? Will a child always play on vertical notes and depend on these pictures?
Are you still reading with alphabetical pictures?
Well, of course not. Why, I am an adult. I do not read from the primer with pictures, of course.
Well, you answered your own question. Children also use pictures as long as they need to.
Well, let's say you're right. But still, when will you start giving children traditional notes? Or will they always read vertically?
Yes, I'm interested in hearing the answer too. In my time, we read music horizontally. Only horizontally.
Yes, in my time too. Wolfie immediately began to read regular music scores. There were no problems with the piano keys at all.
Lucky Wolfie. He saw sounds with his ears. But what about children who need to develop their ear for music?
Guido, your dream of an instrument in which the sound is easily produced has come true. It's a good news.
And what is the bad news?
The creation of keyboard instruments increased the number of notes. There were so many of them that became more difficult to
I
find
remember
them.
my son was accused that his masterpieces had too many notes. But is it bad?
Until I learned to read musical notation, I thought that too many notes were bad. Learning how to read music had helped me to develop attention and listening
That
skills.
is why I created music notation, so that everyone can read music and learn to listen and understand it, using simultaneously the eyes and the ears.
That's why we turned the stuff vertically and returned one line. Only now it is not a melody, but all the soundtracks in a unit of time. We've also added suggestive guides and stickers so that beginners don't lose the connection between notes and keys.
I would do the same. The main thing is to keep all the elements of the music in mind at the same time.
Yes, this turn makes sense for normal kids. My son did without it. And what? He took the lead in music. And those who lagged behind could not read and appreciate his genius.
Well, let's say you're right. But still, when will you start giving children traditional notes? Or will they always read vertically?
Not at all necessary. We have created gradual text formats, from alphabetical to traditional. Everyone can choose their own visual mode.
And who will work on proper hand position and posture of such students?
Excuse me, colleague, but in our time we did not work on any hand posture. Wolfie achieved the fluency of his fingers himself. The harpsichord, by the way, is a wonderful instrument.
Are you saying that the great Mozart started with an instrument without weighted keys?
I already said it! In our era, harpsichords were like 5-octave keyboards today. Nothing managed without the Steinways. Or are there any claims to Mozart's music?
So we start learning with a regular keyboard without weighted keys. Children first develop technique in breath. It only takes a couple of days to master the weighted keys afterwards.
I didn't even expect to learn so many new things during our meeting. I have one last question. And without a teacher, how does a beginner know which fingers to use?
All these problems with fingers. The teacher wrote the numbers of my fingers with a red pencil. And I, getting lost in the keys and notes, did not perceive this information at all.
Fingering? Oddly enough, my son never had a problem with it. He somehow deftly learned to manage all 10 fingers. I can't even suggest anything here.
We have studied this problem with the help of measurements. The computer keeps track of any backlog. If a beginner's delay are too long in finding a note and key, then it makes no sense to suggest which finger to use. As soon as the delay time and number of errors fall, a student himself asks a teacher to suggest correct fingering.
Personally, I think that this approach is the only correct one. You must give your students everything so they can develop themselves and ask you their questions. Only then will they hear the answer and remember it.
Agree. If I pushed Mozart to do what he is not ready to do, he would lose interest in his studies and never become a great musician.
Well, I just have to test your system in practice. Since such great music educators agreed with it, it's worth a try.
Please, hurry up. I really want children to love making music and be able to play notes easily and freely.